about the Nuggets. Like, what to even like? I don't even know.
Maybe we need a whole episode just on Nuggets alone. But okay, that look good. Yep, ESPN on this thing. Okay, we can just go now. All right, you ready?
Yeah,
All right. Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of the Sideline. My name is Rishi Oza,
my name's Asher Hire.
and we are one game away from the Broncos officially being back in the playoffs. So I think the Broncos are almost playoff
Sheesh.
bound. They need to win one of their next 3 games to make it into the playoffs. They got 2 road games and 1 home. This Thursday, they can do it against the Los Angeles Chargers, which it'll be that's going to be a tough task. Short week on the road. A lot of injuries that piled up in this last game against the Colts. Or you can go, it's probably going to be next Saturday. I believe Sean Payton said it's probably going to be flexed.
Yeah,
We'll see what happens if next Saturday, if they play against Cincinnati, another team that's going to be fighting for their playoff lives at that point on the road, or at home against Kansas City, which is never an easy game, but regardless, it's still Kansas City, even if they would be um, sitting their guys or not. So we should just talk about last night and what happened yesterday. One of the most disgusting first 3 quarters I think I've ever seen in my entire life watching football. That was awful from both sides, but Denver stuck with it and ultimately came out with a win. What was kind of your biggest takeaway from that game?
dude. I mean, like, just the combined turnovers. Like, I don't know if I've seen a game. That game was just insane, man. Like, I was thinking, or I was remembering on some of like the most, insane plays, and like, obviously you think of Jonathan Taylor's thing probably first, and then you think of Nick Benito with the pick. Um, Man, there's so much other stuff. Like, I forgot about the whole that we almost tackled Richardson for a safety, and then he threw it off of Ellis's hand, and then he caught it again. Like, that's such an insane moment, but it was like, ranked below the top 5 most craziest moments of the game, probably. So I mean, man, yeah, like it's back to back weeks though, where I would say the Broncos are like a little like I don't want to say fortunate because the defense is making plays for sure. And that's not like a luck thing. I mean, with the insane athlete that Benito is and Sertan's instincts and all that, like they do force a turn and Locke's big hit. They do force legit turnovers. I mean, they make plays like that, but um to, have like 190 total yards and 3 interceptions to be able to win that game is crazy. Um, and really, it's like the past 2 weeks, the offense hasn't looked good. Like I'm glad we got the win, but there's a lot of like I feel like a lot of concerns there. The Browns. I don't think the offense really looked good, and that was against a really aggressive defense. And now you play the Colts, who's a soft, cover 3 zone, don't let up the big play type of defense, and that got Knicks again. So I mean, that's 2 straight games, both like 2 defenses on polar opposites of the spectrum, and Knicks still having bad games. Well, I think they need to go like what I think they need to get to is like the quick game, like the stuff that everybody was talking about. Bo Nix being amazing coming out of college is like I think you could have done more quick game stuff against the Colts. It worked a couple of times. Sutton on like a 5 yard slant, he would catch it, move up for like an 8 yard gain, and then the Mims screen and Franklin. I think that would have been a decent gain had he not dropped the screen to the right side. So like that quick game stuff, I feel like was working, and all the interceptions, well, 2 of them, the 2 bad read interceptions were thrown down the field. The first one was just trying to do too much, but um, yeah. So I mean, I like the defense is making plays, but the offense is concerning. But obviously, having wins is the main thing, and it's nice that you can win and also learn from it too.
Yeah, I mean, I hadn't looked at the box score until just now, and it was obvious that the offense was having a rough game because I mean, every single time the defense gave them an opportunity in that second half, they screwed it up. Like literally every single time. Even in the first half, right? They get the interception, and you're thinking, okay, this is after a touchdown, you get an interception. This is time for you to go score and take momentum back in the game. I don't think they gained a yard. I think it just was straight 3 and out. And then after the PJ Lock hit and fumble, I think that was I think they didn't score on that either. I think it was a field goal that
Yeah,
they
the
scored
field
on that. And
goal.
that was only because they got the ball at like the 30-yard line. So they were just gifted field goal position. And then after all the punts, Mims had a couple of really good punt returns in this one. They were only able to cash in on one of them. And then after the Jonathan Taylor drop at the goal line, that was the biggest gift that they could have gotten. And I think, and they still squandered it. That's a moment where if you score there, you take back all the momentum. And
Well,
it wasn't
Nick,
necessarily they took the momentum. It was just like Indianapolis just lost it. No one took it back after that until the punt return.
that was Nick's third interception was after the Taylor fumble, and man, so I mean, it's just a massive part of the game, dude. Like to go down 20-7, and the offense hasn't gotten anything going, and that's obvious because the possession after Bo Nix throws an interception, dude, that could have spiraled badly if they could have gotten that because that run game was going. Um, like Richardson torched him in the first half. I feel like they did a good job adjusting to Richardson's legs in the second
Yeah,
half. Um, I thought the main like big, thing from the defense that was surprising was how well Chris Abrams-Drain played. Like to have him as a legit backup guy in case one of the top three go down, or you want a nickel package, you put in another DB instead of Levi Wallace out there. Now you got Chris Abrams-Drain, who did a magnificent job against one of the best deep threats. Like he did this against one of the best deep threats in the league in Alec Pierce, and one of the best slot receiver quick guys in the league in Josh Downs. And his two big plays were passes defensed against those two guys. So Mizzou fans were hyping him up when the Broncos drafted him. There's a lot of like Bronco Mizzou fans, and I know all the Mizzou fans were happy about that. And shit, I mean, he's showing out between the Browns game and this game. That's a huge development for the defense. I want to know like your thoughts on there's points in the game I feel like where I'm just not confident in the defense, where it does feel like a lot of games from last year. But then this year they're stepping up and making big time plays like takeaways. Like, they allow 500 whatever yards to Jameis Winston. That's horrible. And then you were getting absolutely torched if Taylor scores that touchdown. That's 20 points right out of halftime. Like they're on pace for like 40 to the Colts. Um, it's a little like I don't know. I don't know. They're giving up a lot more yards than they were before the
yeah,
season, and it's to really not good offenses either.
yeah. It definitely is concerning. I think a lot of it is fatigue and just injuries. I think specifically the Cleveland game, you could tell it was injuries. Obviously, Riley Moss not being there was rough. It's the week right before your bye week, to the latest that you can possibly have it, week 14. So like it I think last week was definitely that. I think this week was some rust coming back because in the second half they completely shut everything down. Indianapolis didn't score. Obviously, that play from Taylor was huge. The defense snatched back momentum because of that. The offense didn't do anything with it, but the defense took that. They took the opportunity that they were given. Um, but I mean, the defense has been a second half defense the entire season. Honestly, like they really do wait. It takes them a little bit to get involved in the game and figure out what they're doing. I think
Yeah,
Vance Joseph does an incredible job of getting them adjusted. Like you mentioned, they did a great job of adjusting to the legs of Anthony Richardson and honestly to the legs of Jonathan Taylor. There were two plays in that first half where it was 3rd and 10, 3rd and 9, and they just give it straight back to Jonathan Taylor and he gets a first down off of it, that's like inexcusable defense to allow just a simple like halfback dive or an outside zone to be able to get 11, 12 yards on a third down. But in the second half, they didn't do that at all. They punched the ball, or they crowded the box. They made sure that Anthony Richardson had to throw the ball. I mean, he had 38 pass attempts today, which is that is not a formula you want to win.
yeah.
And Jonathan Taylor had a good game, 22 carries for 107 yards and essentially a touchdown. But the defense has been giving up a lot because you do look at the big plays that they have. Josh Downs had a 22-yard gain. I think that was the third down pass on that first drive. Anthony Gold, 23-yard gain. 40-yard play from Jonathan Taylor, like, and then the 22-yard rush from Anthony Richardson for their touchdown. Like, they do give up a lot of big plays that is happening before, and that's what I'm worried about going into Thursday because you don't know if you're going to have Riley Moss. Patrick Surtain is hobbled. He's not going to be 100% if he even does play that game. I know they said he was an estimated full participant in practice, but I don't know about that. But every other guy in the injury report was an estimated DNP. Riley Moss was an estimated DNP.
Yeah.
John Franklin Myers popped up. He was a DNP. DJ Jones injured his finger. He was a DNP. So, like, there's a lot of guys who might not play in this Thursday game. And it is concerning because I do think fatigue is getting to them. And I think when you're a defense that's this good for this long, it is hard to keep it up. Like, teams are going to be able to figure out things that don't work. And I think when you have injuries on the outside, as much as Denver has dealt with this season, they're going to see it. Like that first Chargers game that they had, I think that really showed it because Patrick Surtain gets injured on the first drive of the game, and Los Angeles had no trouble moving the ball, whether it was running the ball or throwing it. They had no problems moving it until they kind of just put it in park and ran the clock out. So it is an issue. I think it is an issue, but I hope it's just fatigue. That's not going to get any easier because now you're going to play 3 games in whatever it is, 11 days, 3 games in 12 days.
Yeah. That's tough, like coming out
So
of a bye week that fatigue can be like a factor, but I mean it could be like they played however many straight games to start out the season.
yeah,
Um Looking at
I
the
will say that
Chargers, sorry.
I think I mean you well no, I just this last part we were talking about last time we were saying um we wanted Bo to use his legs more and he
Okay,
was using them.
I was gonna bring that up. Yeah.
He was using them in this last game, which was
Yeah.
good because I think it showed his fatigue. He looked fresh. He looked a lot better, a lot more healthier than he did against Cleveland. You could tell the back was an issue in that game. So and I just want to bring that up. He used his legs a
Yeah.
lot more. He had the one sack in the first half, but overall, I thought his mobility in the pocket looked a lot better, and he was more willing to scramble for gains.
No, you're right. I think it was like two. He ran for two first downs. I can't remember if they were on third downs, but um, still no like designed anything designed where
Mhm.
Knicks can have the choice of keeping it. And like I don't know. I just don't get it. Like you just run up the middle every single time with these untalented running backs. Um, like expand the run game more is what I want. I want more like RPOs, that quick game. As I said, you can include the RPO in the quick game and like it's an expansion of the run game too. So like the Colts were keeping everything in front of them. Um, I just felt like you could have gone to that more. I mean, they're including the screens to Mims, there's the wrinkle there, but you need something else too. I feel like with just how miserable they are, like running up the middle. I feel like the only good runs is like, Estimate, I believe, is averaging, um, he's averaging 5.5 yards per carry on outside tackle runs for what it's worth on 8 attempts. So I mean, like just more stuff outside. It seems like McLaughlin when he gets going, it's more like stretch type of runs. Um,
Yeah,
so I don't know. I don't like jamming it up the middle every time with Javante. I like, yeah.
Javante
I
has
don't know.
had a really rough stretch. He
It's
has
just
that great
it's
game
just
against New
yeah,
Orleans, and you're thinking, okay, he's coming back. That game against New Orleans, 14 carries, 88 yards, 2 touchdowns. He had 23 yards receiving as well, so 100 total yards for him in that game. Like you're thinking, all right, he's getting back to what we used to see. And then against Carolina, it's 17 carries for 44 yards, and you're like, ugh, that's not that good.
yeah,
Then against Baltimore, 12 carries for 42 yards, like, oh, that's not good. And then it's Kansas City, 1 carry for 1 yard. He's essentially out of the game in that one. Then against Atlanta, decent 9 carries, 59 yards, and a touchdown. But then against the last 3 games have been like disgusting. You have 8 carries for -2 yards against Vegas, and you have 4 carries for 1 yard and a touchdown for one against
yeah.
Cleveland, and then 6 carries for 15 yards. And he looks like he is just there's no burst in him
So
right now.
that's
There's
that's 18 carries for 18 yards, right? in his last
Uh,
3 games.
in his last 3 games, 18 carries for 15 yards,
Oh my
14 yards.
good. Oh my God, dude.
It's bad. I mean,
Uh,
he's not getting any momentum going forward. And also, like the offensive line is not doing any favors because, especially in this game, like no one could run the ball. At least in the last
yeah.
game, where it was like, okay, Jaleel had a solid game; he had over 80 yards rushing. But in this game, no one had a good game for running the ball except Bo, like I guess. Uh, but the offensive line has not done many favors for them this season in the run game. But Javante has been by far the most inconsistent when it comes to he just can't seem to get going. And I think like we've had moments this season where you think, okay, Denver's priority has to be a wide receiver, and then it's like, no, it has to be a tight end. It might be running back because I don't think there's a single like actual starter on this team right now in the running back room.
I know
Uh,
it's such a
I,
weird like it's such a weird thing because like you can spend a first round pick on a running back, and I really wouldn't be mad at that because all of this offense needs just someone explosive to just be able to make plays. And to have that in the running game, I feel like would be huge. But like at the same time, it's like you can wait till like the second round. You see all these Niners running backs, like just no name people coming out of nowhere, and Garendo has a good season, and Mason has a good season. So it's like, which I feel like is mostly the Niners scheme. So I feel like you can, if you're confident in your running scheme and your offensive lineman, then maybe you don't have to use a first round pick on a running back. But it seems like you need someone that can break tackles and make plays. That just, I don't know, that's just the way it looks right now. Like as you said, there's not many
yeah,
holes opening up. So like I feel like it would be worth it. I don't know if there'll be uh picking high enough to get Genty. We'll see. I don't know. It's gonna be interesting to see when these running backs go off the board and if they go like I don't there could be like 3 running backs in the first round if they really
there
wanted
could
to.
be. There's a lot.
Um
There's some good running backs out in the
yeah.
draft. That's why I don't think they need to take one in the first round because you're going to be able to get someone good in the second round. You have a pick in rounds 1 through 5. They have a pick in all of them, so you're going to have opportunities to get somebody who's going to be able to make plays. Yeah, I don't know if they'll be high enough for Genty, but like uh, the Iowa Caleb Johnson, like he's a
Yeah,
guy who you could
dude.
take. I don't like
He would be
it's
amazing.
he's a tweener. Like you don't know if
He
he'll go first or second round, but he's a
yeah.
guy who you could take early.
But he reminds me a lot of Kamara, like his
Mhm.
ability to catch the ball out of the backfield. He's faster than Kamara probably. He's really fast. So I mean, yeah, he would be good. Receiver and I would go receiver in the first round, running back in the second round. Just
Yeah,
just load up, man. Like
I
receiver if
agree.
Burden is there, you know, that'd be good. Because it seems like Burden could go in like the teens, maybe he could fall to the 20s. I don't know. Obviously Travis Hunter's not going to be an option.
Yeah,
But anyways, that is a long time away, and hopefully we get like the number 30 pick or whatever.
we'll
Probably not gonna
see.
happen. Yeah. Chargers. I'm looking at their injury report. Quinn Johnston did not practice, which could be big. Justin Herbert was limited with an ankle, so it looks like that ankle popped up again for him.
Mhm.
Um, that's big. Will Disley did not practice. I'd be big if Quinn Johnston's out, man.
It
Like,
would be. It would be huge because you don't know if Rodney Moss is going to play. You don't know if Sertan's
yeah.
going to play. Um,
Sertan was a full participant though. It looks like he is on track to play.
yeah, it looks like it. They said it was just a minor ankle sprain. It's just the way that it came off didn't
I
seem
know,
good because he
dude.
had to be
I
helped
didn't
off, and I
like,
was like,
and then
that's concerning.
I didn't like how he was limping, and then he stopped limping, and then put his arms on the trainers, and then he couldn't put any like weight on the leg. I was like, I don't like that. I don't like that.
Yeah,
Because the thing is, like, you're supposed to walk it off, and it should like feel better as you continue to walk. And clearly, it was feeling worse. Um,
yeah,
yeah, that was tough.
yeah. That one was tough, but yeah. And here's the thing, right? I really do believe this. I think Denver was okay with flexing this game into Thursday night for this week because they know this is not the more important game. Now, but that was back then when Los Angeles had like a 2 game lead on you for the sixth
Right.
spot. Now Denver is in the sixth seed, so it really just depends on how confident they are in their matchups because I think they flexed into this thinking, you know what, we might have to beat Cincinnati to clinch a playoff spot and knock them out of the playoffs. So we want to have more rest going into
Yeah.
that game. Chargers are ahead of us anyway. It doesn't matter if we lose to them; it's fine because we really need to beat Cincinnati. Now it might be the other way around, where it's like that Cincinnati game might not matter as much if you just win this Chargers game. So that could play a factor into who's going to play. And also the injury reports that we've been seeing. The team's in practice today. It's just the estimated one. So like what they would be doing. Sertan was listed as a full participant, which is good, but I don't know if that's actually how it would have gone. I do think some of these other guys who are popping up on the injury report, like John Franklin Myers, he seemed fine the entire game. So maybe his is just like a maintenance veteran thing.
Yeah.
DJ Jones was injured, same with Jaleel McLaughlin. They came out, but like Franklin Myers might just be a maintenance type of thing. Um, Same thing with Quinn Johnston, Herbert. Like those guys might just be maintenance things going into a short week. But it does play a factor into playing in this game. How hard are they going to go? Because Denver just needs one win. They need one win in their next three to clinch a playoff spot. That's all they need. So are they going to go all out and be like, you know what, we're going to do this, and maybe we'll heal up for the next game, or are they going to be like, you know what, we flex this out because we know it's not as important as the next one. So I don't know. It's going to be really really interesting going forward.
Yeah. I
Because
really
yeah,
hope they win though, man. I'm not trying to play Buffalo first round at all, dude. That's a death
no man. I
sentence.
mean, because right now it is Pittsburgh. They would play Pittsburgh in the
Yeah.
first round. They dropped
And
to the 3 seed, and Buffalo overtook them.
I
So,
would
and
I
that's a
would
matchup
yeah.
that I would take Denver in. Like honestly, I would take Denver to beat Pittsburgh. I really
I
would.
want I would prefer the Texans first round. The Texans just don't have a
Yeah,
good like vibe at all this year.
yeah,
Um and then yeah, obviously Steelers second. Steelers are interesting. It also TJ Watt got injured, which
he
is big
did.
time for the defensive player of the year race, which is like making my mind hurt how Nick Benito is plus 1300 right now to win it. Like I don't get it. He's got the same amount of sacks as TJ Watt. He has I think hold on, let me see. I know Benito's got like three forced fumbles. I think Watt has like four forced fumbles. But then Benito obviously has the two touchdowns, which I feel like people are gonna really look at. I just don't really know the reasoning behind TJ Watt being first, other than that he's just a big name.
Yeah,
Um, because like it's clear that Benito has more like better numbers. Um, that you would typically
yeah.
look at for an
I
edge.
mean, this is a year that there's no real like contender for defensive player of the year. Like it's just a bunch of solid overall teams. Because I think you look at Pittsburgh over the last few seasons, yeah, it's been T.J. Watt has been a big reason for why they've been so elite. But this year, like their secondary is very good. Their linebacking core has stepped it up big time. The rest of their defensive line has been really really solid. Um, but TJ Watt, like he's doing TJ Watt things, but he's not having the same statistical year as before. I've seen a lot of people say Jalen Carter might is getting stuff, and I'm like, I don't like. I get maybe sure, but honestly, like I think Denver has two legit defensive player of the year candidates. Sertan's not going to get it because he doesn't have accounting stats, but he's been the best corner in the league, and he is the reason that this defense
Right.
can do the things that it does. And Nick Bonito has the counting stats. He's second in the league in sacks. He has the two defensive touchdowns. You would think, what, he's the only player since JJ Watt, when JJ Watt had the should have been MVP season in
Yeah.
2014, to have 11 plus sacks and 2 plus defensive touchdowns in the same season. Like
Yep.
this is one of the best years of all time. Like I say that weirdly, but it's one of the better years of all time from a statistical standpoint because it's been done uh, so few many times. I hope it's not like that Vic Beasley, that was the guy's name, right? For the Falcons when he just out of nowhere had like 18 sacks in a year and then
Yeah.
never got above like 10 the rest of his career.
Yeah.
I hope it's not like that.
I haven't heard a
Hoping
name
he keeps
like
this up.
that. Yeah.
That was what I was thinking. I was like, man, I hope it's not like that because that dude looked like a beast the one year Falcons made the Super Bowl and then he just never did anything the rest of
I
his
know.
career. But we'll see. We'll see what happens. But yeah, I do think Bonito should be. If Watt is getting it for sacks, statistical purposes, Bonito has more sacks than him.
Yeah.
And like if we're thinking about it from an impact perspective, it should be Sertan.
Yeah, for
legitimately.
sure.
So
I saw this stat. Sertan has been targeted on 10.2% of his coverage snaps this season, which is the lowest rate among all cornerbacks with at least 750 coverage snaps. So that's only 10% of the time he's targeted. He's also allowed only 39 yards after the catch, which is the fewest among 107 corners. Um, he's allowed zero point 0.5 yards per coverage snap this season. This is the second fewest by any corner since 2018. I don't know who that was, but I wonder who that was. Do I have a guess? Was that the Stephon Gilmore? Like,
I think
nah.
Gilmore was 2019, but
Yeah.
maybe it was the 2018 season that they won. I don't remember. Maybe it was Gilmore. I don't remember if there was another corner as good as him that back then. So it had to be him. Was that the AJ Boye year or whatever?
Oh, maybe.
When he was turning into prime champ Bailey for one season.
Dude, I remember the game he had when he was first with the Texans and he played against the Broncos and had an insane game. He was like his second year in the league or something before he got the big deal with the Jags. Yeah, I thought
Mhm.
that guy was gonna be a star. And I mean he did turn out to kind of be a star for a year.
Yeah.
Um
Yeah. Well, okay. What is
yeah.
the key? We have 10 minutes until this Nuggets game starts. By the way, Christian Brown out, so it'll be Russell Westbrook starting alongside Jamal Murray. So what's the
With a
key
back?
going into this game? Yeah, it's back. I assume just because they don't play until Thursday, so they have time off and it's a road trip. So I assume they're just giving
Dude,
him.
the Nuggets
Okay.
like they don't play any games. It's
I know. I
insane.
don't
It's
understand.
like
They did play last Sunday, and then they didn't play till Friday, and now they're not playing till today, and they're not gonna play till
like
Thursday again. It's like
the
I
Clippers
don't
have
know.
played the Kings have played 26 games.
Yeah, they played three more games than Denver
Yeah.
at this point. It's really weird. And Denver still has a bunch of injuries. I like
And
it. Okay.
yeah. I better not
I
hear
don't get it.
one thing about fatigue this season, dude. These guys like barely play, bro.
Yeah, I don't get it. I don't get it. But in terms of the Broncos, going against LA, obviously they lost that first game, but there was no Sertan. We might be facing a similar issue in this game if it's no Moss or no Sertan or no both, which would be a disaster. What's the key going into this game?
I think it depends because like as another stat I saw is the Broncos play like 28 coverage or zone coverage snaps against Anthony Richardson. Um and resulted his passer rating against the zone was the lowest that the Broncos have allowed this season. And so like if Sertan is possibly out or if Moss is out and you don't feel confident just manning up like they did when both of those guys were healthy, you could just straight up man them up and send the blitz. And you notice like the blitz has definitely come down with Moss being out. And, it's interesting how that just all works, in together with it. Um, so, I mean, if one of those guys is out, it seems like that zone coverage has worked pretty well. Obviously, Herbert is a much better processor than Richardson is, but um, I think you would take your chance. I don't know. I don't like allowing the big play. I know Johnston could be out, which is one of their big play targets, but McConkey's still dangerous, and they got Josh Palmer who, he catches a lot of deep balls too. So I feel like, yeah, with Dobbins, not being a threat, obviously, I would kind of play like how the Colts played the Broncos, just keep everything in front, bend it but don't break. Honestly, the Broncos bended but didn't break against the Colts. Like they allowed that touchdown to Richardson, but then the second drive, like the Colts could have gone up 14-0, but they held them to a field goal. Um, and then
And
obviously
end of the first
yeah,
half,
yeah,
they had
yeah.
that really good punt return that they had great field position on. Yeah, no,
Oh yeah,
I
you're
think
right.
that's good. Yeah, defensively, they've been playing more zone over the last over the last few weeks. Maybe that is because Ronnie Moss is out. Maybe it's because they don't feel as confident in their outside guy. That they don't feel as comfortable playing man, which is fair. But it's worked. Like it was as good as it's been in a long time. Um, last night, I think you can get away with playing man even if one of them is out against LA. I know it didn't go great against LA last time, but I'm playing us under the assumption that Sertan is going to play because
Yeah.
if they think he was a full participant, then he should be good. Maybe he doesn't play every snap, but he should be in there for majority of the game. And if Sertan is there, then you can play man no matter who's on the other side because they don't really have any like deep burners. Like Denver really got burned because Judy is fast and has speed and is an incredible route runner. They don't have anybody like that. They have straight line speed guys with Johnston and Palmer, but they don't outside of McConkey, and he's not a deep threat either. So I think you can live with him, dicing up whoever's in front of him. He's not going to make anything. He's not going to get any 40, 50-yard plays. So I think you can live with doing man if Satan is out there. And if that is the case, then I think you have to send blitz. You cannot let Herbert sit in there and dissect you because it's not going to go the same as it did with Anthony Richardson. Like you said, he's an incredible processor. He's playing great right now. He had a couple of throws. I know they got killed against Tampa, but he had a couple of throws in there where it's like, geez, like this dude with actual weapons is going to be so good. Um, like before was man, if he had an offensive line, like who knows what offensive line or coach who knows what happened. Now he has that, but he doesn't have the weapons.
Yeah.
I think if they just once he gets an actual receiver, it's going to be great. But I think the biggest key is they have to get the run game going. I think teams are starting to understand what Bo is good at and what he's not good at. I think they're disguising things better against him because he's looking how he did early. I think his footwork is getting a little jumpy again. He's the first interception looked very similar to what he was doing early in the year, where he's not set, he's not he's moving in the pocket, he's a little jumpy. And I think the second interception wasn't completely his fault because I think it looked like Sean Payton was yelling at Sutton.
But I
I
don't
don't know
like
how like
I don't know. I watched like the video on that again, um, like with a better camera angle, and it was like I don't know, like Knicks threw the ball deeper than Sutton. So was Sutton supposed to go deeper? But there was a defender behind Sutton though,
yeah.
like 7 yards behind Sutton. So there was a window there for Knicks to fit it in, but um yeah, it was interesting. Dude, that number 33 Womack guy had an insane game. Outside of
Yeah,
the
great game.
he got he got torched by Sutton on the double move outside, but and then was he the one that got dude, that spin move was so sick. I love
Oh
that rep.
yeah, no, that was someone else. That was hold on,
Okay,
I
yeah.
don't know, Jalen, someone 40, who also had an insanely good game. I'm trying to
Yeah.
find this guy's
But
name. It's
and then
Jalen something.
the third interception was like kind of the same situation, but Knicks just threw it late. Like
Yeah,
Sutton was open. And but I think like hearing him in his press conference, um, it sounds like he kind of does. I feel like everybody does let interceptions get to him. Um, they read things slower. They're not really confident in what they're seeing. I think it does affect people, but some guys in their interviews will be like, "Nah, I'm on to the next play." And I feel like some quarterbacks really do have that mentality, like a Brady or a Rodgers or whatever. They really are like on to the next play. Nick's in his interviews, it seems like it does affect him. He's like, talking about how he kind of starts to lose a little confidence. So I think the one to Sutton, he saw the field well. It's the right read, but I think he just wasn't like confident in what he was seeing after throwing two interceptions. So he's like, wait, is he really open? Oh yeah, he is. And then he throws it late. And you just can't do that in the NFL. So hopefully it does seem like he bounces back well. Obviously you think back to the Jets game to Tampa, like if he has a week to think about it, he bounces back well. But I feel like in the games, he's kind of susceptible, whatever I can't pronounce that word,
yeah,
but to having a back-to-back kind of bad plays. Um,
yeah.
but I
But
think he
I do
can
think
he can fix it
I
though.
think it's good. Like I think you're correct on that because that's why it's important going back to your earlier point about just getting him in rhythm early, because getting in rhythm with these short passes, getting him in rhythm with these easy throws to get stuff going. Like on that first drive before he threw the interception, it was a lot of short, easy stuff. It wasn't anything crazy, wasn't anything deep. Um, the interception was just a bad read, but like he was in a rhythm, he was feeling comfortable. So, and you can do that against this Chargers defense. This Chargers defense, like they've been good overall, but I still think they're pretty weak on the outside. Like you can win matchups with your receivers,
Yeah.
and
Yeah,
Denver's
that's
receivers are healthy. Like
it,
they
it
have some.
seems it seems like the Chargers defense is kind of getting figured out a little bit now. Obviously it's Jesse Minter and Jim Harbaugh. Who knows what to expect? Nobody has seen this combo. But now, after 13 games or whatever, the Ravens put up a big number on them. The Bengals did well against them, obviously. And then the Buccaneers just put up 40. So, like, and it seems like they're all big plays. You think of the Jamar Chase and the T. Higgins big
Yeah.
plays, and then Mike Evans had a
Yep.
big play, McMillan had a big play. So that works in the Broncos' favor, considering Nick's just loves throwing those.
Yeah.
Um,
This could be a game for Troy Franklin. I mean, he had his first career
yeah.
touchdown against them. This could be a game where he burns someone deep and finally they get some sort of connection. So it'll be
So
interesting, man. This is going to be a good
it
game. Like
it is because like
regardless of what happens.
I feel like it's coming off a short week too. It's interesting if they like the adjustments they'll make because it seems like the NFL is figuring out the Chargers, and it seems like the NFL is figuring out Knicks a little bit because coming into the year, everybody's thinking he's going to throw short, this and that. Let's play super aggressive, and then it's like, whoa, he's actually throwing deep every single game. So now they adjust. The NFL is kind of figuring him out a little bit. Now he's got to adjust back. And with it being a short week, it's interesting to see. It'll be interesting to see how he adjusts to the NFL's adjustment on him and
Yeah.
how the Chargers adjust to the NFL's adjustment on them. So, I mean,
Yep.
what a
We'll see.
storyline for a short week, Thursday night.
Yeah.
Man, I like these two wins have been lucky, I feel like, for the Broncos. Like they're due for a good game, dude. I think they're
They
due for
are.
a good game, their offense. The Saints, the last Thursday night game, not really comparable to the Chargers, but their offense went off in that game. They could have scored 50 something if if Knicks had just thrown the ball
Yeah.
accurately. Um, so I don't know. Obviously they know that they can clinch the playoffs now just with the win. Um, I like the energy. I like the energy. I'm gonna say that the Broncos win.
Yeah. I think because I think one of the issues I had with this Colts game to start at least, and I'll make this the last point before we head out, or if you have anything else to say after it, but um, I it didn't really feel like the team was ready for the moment against Indianapolis. First, I mean, the defense first off just gets completely gashed on the first drive. Right, they let two long 3rd and 10s to plays that shouldn't have happened. They really didn't get going. Really didn't start getting pressure on Anthony Richardson until the third quarter started. And the offense, they did not do anything the entire game until the fourth quarter. Right, they had 10 points going into the fourth, and they end up with 31 because of the pick six by Benito, and then obviously getting the touchdown from Sutton to seal it. But I think this is the game where they have to come out strong on offense. Like you have to understand the moment, understand like, listen, the rest of the season does not matter if we just win this game today. We win this game today, we're in the playoffs. There's so much less pressure on what's going on, and you're good. I don't know what Sean Payton is saying in the locker room. I don't know what Sean Payton is doing, but it feels like for big games that the team struggles to get up a little bit, except for the Chiefs one. That's the only one where
Dude,
it seemed like they got up.
yeah, I forgot about the Ravens game. I was gonna say that it seems like the defense plays better on the road. Um,
Yeah,
but I forgot about that Ravens game. But it does feel like throughout the season that the defense has played better on the road. Like I wonder if that's somehow a thing. Like if they like just think that the crowd is gonna carry them, give them all this energy, and then they kind of lose focus a little bit. Maybe on the road they can kind of zone in more, or lock in more.
maybe,
Um,
maybe. Yeah,
we'll see.
but we'll
We will
see. I mean,
see.
this is like everyone was saying this game against the Colts, biggest game since the AFC Championship game, is Super Bowl 50, which is true. It was true, but this next game even bigger. Honestly, like if you win this game, you are in the playoffs. You don't want to wait until Week 18 to clinch it against a Chiefs team
Yeah.
that's going to be starting Carson Wentz. If Mahomes is healthy or not, they're starting Carson Wentz in
And
that game.
and and you're looking like you're gonna avoid the Bills. I mean, that's what I'm really like.
Yeah, you're avoiding the best team in the AFC, in my opinion. You going against a favorable matchup against Pittsburgh, who against the good teams that they have played, they have lost. They have lost.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I'm looking forward to it, man. I really am. Like, I think, yeah, we'll see how I think the way the offense comes out will be a big tell in how this game is going to go because San Diego, or it's not San Diego, Los Angeles is also going to have to get up for this game because now they're really feeling the pressure. Now you just jump them, and now you have a big game coming up against them. Like you need to show up. So
Yeah.
we'll see how it
Dude,
goes.
I'm watching this Falcons game. Kadarius Hodge just blocked his second punt of the game. And then the Raiders guy almost like picks it up and almost runs it for a first down. I don't know if you're watching, but it's
No, I'm
crazy.
not.
Like a
That's
Raiders
funny.
guy picked up the blocked punt and then
Yeah,
ran it, and he was like close to getting the first down.
I mean that's what happened in the Bengals Cowboys game, right? Where they blocked the punt, but then the Cowboys
Oh,
player
right.
touched it and
Yeah,
they
yeah,
recovered for the
yeah.
first down. No, that's funny. But
Dude,
all right, any last thoughts before we close this out?
I don't think so, man. I feel like we got it. Um,
Yeah, I think hopefully Denver got it too. We'll see. Once again, like, hopefully a big game from Troy Franklin. I feel like this is a game for him to do it. Either him or Marvin Mims. It's a game for them to burn the defense and do it. So
so
we'll
there's no chance at all for a home playoff game, right? I'm trying to think of like,
no, they have to win the division.
yeah. Man.
Well, okay, I guess if they are the 5 seed and they make it to the championship game and Kansas City loses, or all if the
You're right,
5
you're
seed
right.
and 1 through 4 lose, then yeah,
Yeah.
I think that's the only chance. Which really sucks, but I think that's the only way. So we'll see.
Well,
But I mean, it makes divisions matter, which I like. I like
isn't
that
that the whole
divisions
thing?
actually.
Like
Yeah.
Josh Allen. Well, they get early home playoff games, but Josh Allen's always like on the road in Kansas
Mhm.
City. We need to see Bo Nix road god. Let's hope,
Yeah.
man.
Yeah. Well, let's hope they don't
The
play
weather
Buffalo in
thing
the
is
first
scary.
round. Buffalo snow game with Bo Nix might actually like
I
set
know
football
that's
back
what
a little bit.
like
So
that Jets game is still on my mind, dude. Like if he really can't throw in the rain, that would be crazy because it really was not raining that hard in that game.
yeah, that one was rough. So we'll see. We'll see how it goes. We gotta focus on this game first. Yeah, we'll see what happens. We'll also watch this Broncos Nuggets game. Hopefully they woke up after the worst loss I've ever seen
We'll
against the
see.
Wizards.
They're just so like you
Uh,
just don't know what you're getting out of them.
I have no idea. Zero clue what's gonna happen. I thought it was really funny. Denver. I'll say this preview for the game. Denver's averaging the most free throw attempts in the league as a team. Which, first off, hilarious.
I know, right?
Denver's complained about
Who would
refs
have
for
thought,
years,
dude?
and they're actually
Yeah.
getting calls now, which is funny. But it's also because Denver just attacks the rim more than any other team in the league. And it seems like the entire team has made a concerted effort to get to the rim as much as possible. Well, every single fan, me included, is like, shoot more threes. And that team is like, nah, bro, we're going straight to the rack.
Nah,
And it's just funny. It's
we
just really
good.
funny. It's a funny
We
team.
good. I
It's a
know.
funny team.
They're
Funny team.
weird.
All
But
right.
somehow, at the end of the day, they're like third in like points per game. Isn't like at the end of the day, isn't that kind of the stat that actually
Yeah.
matters at the end of the
Yeah. I
day?
mean, they still have the best player in the world, and they're the 5 seed currently here, which is hilarious. West is tight. Nuggets are they're gonna figure it out at some point. See,
Westbrook
whether it's the
triple
day
double
after
tonight?
Jokic or
Westbrook triple double tonight?
Westbrook triple. Ooh, maybe.
Starting?
Well, I don't know. If Keon Ellis is playing, no. But if it's Kevin
Hmm.
Huerter, yes. I don't know. I don't know what
I
Mike
see
Brown
it. I
does
see
most
it.
of the time, but yeah,
Yeah.
that's gonna do it. We'll catch up on this Nuggets game. Hopefully, talk about them at some point. But yeah, that's gonna do it. Thanks for watching. Peace.
Peace. All right. Do you have